Abdullah. I'm from Singapore. I study in Wolsey Hall Oxford, doing year 3 and 4. We live near the sea and this makes us enjoy the nature along with my studies. A typical day for me would be studying, playing, swimming, and spending lots of time with my family. I study maths and English from year 4 and geography, science, and computing from year 3.
Hi, my name is Stefania Bojica. I'm 15 years old and I am a tennis player. I compete and travel around the world for ITF tournaments. In this video, I would like to talk about my experience with Wolsey Hall as an online school. So let's get onto it. As an elite tennis player, online school with Wolsey Hall has helped me a lot as it gives me more time for my tennis trainings. It also allows me to travel more often while doing school. When I was in a traditional school, I couldn't have a flexible schedule to provide me with more time for my training and traveling. It was also pretty hard to catch up on my schoolwork that I missed.
Hello, my name is Oliver and I'm 12 years old and I've been studying with Wolsey Hall since September in 2020. When I had an introduction to homeschooling during the first pandemic and the lockdown of schools, I found that I really loved the experience of learning from home. We wondered how we would be able to make this a reality and started to research all of the different homeschooling providers and different methods of learning from home to see which one would work for me and my family. After much searching, we decided on Wolsey Hall and have never looked back.
Hello everybody, welcome to this Wolsey Hall Oxford homeschooling webinar for all levels of study. We have families joining us from all over the world today and a very big welcome to you all. I'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Joy Anna and I am a past student at Wolsey Hall. And I am absolutely delighted to be coming back to help students and parents find the right path for them. Joined here today a number of colleagues, both from our admissions and academic teams, who will be answering your questions today. Just to let you know, we are recording this webinar and we'll send out a link of the recording to all of you via email in a few days. You'll be able to rewatch the event and also share it with family and friends. Before we start the Q&A answer session, we will have a short video to share with you today, followed by a summary presentation from our Deputy Head of Secondary, Olivia Dixon, and Supervisor of Courses in Primary, Joe Ryman. You may find that some of the questions you have are answered in the video and the presentation itself, so please don't type any questions into the Q&A until the video and presentation are complete, as we won't be able to answer any of these questions before the Q&A session. Thank you very much. Please enjoy the video and the presentation, and I will let you know when the Q&A begins.
Welcome to Wolsey Hall Oxford. Today, we'll share how Wolsey Hall can enhance your child's educational experience outside the traditional mainstream school setting. Wolsey Hall Oxford was established in 1894 and has evolved significantly. We offer a comprehensive online educational solution for families, catering to students from 3.5 to 18 years old, as well as mature students seeking to extend their educational journey. We are proud to help students in over 130 countries with their educational pathways leading to careers, universities, and colleges. Our alumni include notable figures such as Nelson Mandela, but we are proud of each student we help on their educational journey. Wolsey Hall Oxford is a registered Cambridge online school, delivering curriculum from Cambridge, one of the leading examination boards globally, and notably, we were the first primary online Cambridge school to be recognised by the board. This affiliation makes us part of a family of over 10,000 Cambridge schools worldwide. Each year, thousands of IGCSE and A-level candidates take their external examinations through the Cambridge Exam Board, leading to globally recognised qualifications. Additionally, we are a recognised Pearson edXL Centre, offering a selection of subjects from Pearson edXL, another globally recognised examination board. What makes Wolsey Hall Oxford unique is our individualised approach to each child. We provide personalised learning pathways for homeschoolers, allowing each student to create a bespoke portfolio of subjects and progress at a pace that is suitable for them, in a truly personal learning journey. We offer structured, planned curricula, so you can choose the subjects you wish to study, knowing that you will be provided with appropriate resources to challenge and extend your child's learning at home with access to our outstanding support. We seek to establish a strong partnership with our families to support both academics and the learning journey. We offer flexibility not only in the subjects your child studies, but also when you start the courses, as you can pick an access date that suits you and your child's study plans. We also offer placement flexibility, allowing you to choose the level of study that suits your child's current learning level. For example, a student may be studying Year 6 English alongside Year 7 Maths. Our admissions team is happy to discuss different study options so that you can create your child's unique learning journey with us. To help you understand where your child might fit in, let's outline the different phases of Wolsey Hall Oxford. We begin with lower primary, which includes getting ready for Year 1 and Years 1 and 2, usually suited to children from age 3.5 to 7 years old, followed by the upper primary phase, which includes Years 3, 4, 5 and 6, usually suited to children from 7 to 11 years old. Next is lower secondary, which includes Years 7, 8 and 9, and typically studied from 11 years old to 14 years old, followed by the examination phases of GCSE and IGCSE, usually studied from 14 years old to 16 years old. And finally, A-levels, usually studied from 16 years old to 18 years old. Each primary and lower secondary course is studied for up to 12 months and represents one academic year of study, following both the English National Curriculum and Cambridge Curriculum, where applicable. IGCSE and A-level courses are studied over 2 years and represent 2 academic years of study, following either Cambridge or Pearson edXL specifications as appropriate. Both IGCSE and A-levels are internationally recognised qualifications. All our courses are hosted on our learning platform Canvas, which is secure and user-friendly. Each child enrolls on their courses as an individual, giving them control over their pace of learning and study schedule. In primary, the courses are parent-led, while in secondary, they are directed to the student, promoting autonomy and independence. Our structured, easy-to-follow courses include assignments and activities, blending online and offline learning, and resources like textbooks and subscriptions. We don't have online lessons, providing freedom and flexibility for families to set their own timetables. Videos scaffold learning, allowing students to work at their own pace. If you are interested in viewing the range of subjects available and samples of each course, please visit our website. Tutors and student progress managers provide support for families. Our UK qualified teachers mark assignments, give valuable feedback, and provide the next steps in learning. Your tutor is also available via messaging on our learning platform to support you when needed. Your student progress manager offers key support to the family and will be in touch with you on a regular basis. They will create an assignment schedule, monitor learning progress in all subjects, and be available for queries from parents and students. We also provide additional paid-for support services, including learning support and well-being, and a careers and university advisory service. Wolsey Hall Oxford is committed to providing a holistic education, and as such, we also offer extracurricular activities and clubs through the online Wolsey Hall community area, the online secondary forum, as well as maintaining active parent groups and newsletters. We hope you found this information helpful. Our admissions team look forward to discussing your child and their unique, personalised learning pathway with Wolsey Hall Oxford.
Thank you for joining us today. Lovely to see so many of you here, and especially to be hosted by Joanna, one of our students of Wolsey Hall. So I'm joined by my colleague Olivia Dixon, who's the Deputy of Secondary at Wolsey Hall, and we thought we'd just go through some of the slides to reiterate the points to hopefully help you understand how Wolsey Hall Oxford works. So the Wolsey Hall journey that your child may be part of begins, perhaps if your student is 3.5 years old, at getting ready for year 1. And that takes you all the way through the lower primary phase until the age of 7. That's followed by the upper primary phase, and that covers years 3, 4, 5, and 6. And typically students are aged 7 to 11 in the upper primary phase. Following the primary phases comes the lower secondary phase, and this covers years 7, 8, and 9. Students are typically aged 11 to 14 years at this stage, but the flexibility of Wolsey Hall enables different age groups to be enrolled on different course levels. But just to be clear, these top level, the top row there, the lower primary, upper primary, and lower secondary courses are all designed and represent one academic year in a mainstream school. So students, if they were taking maybe year 5 English, that would be one academic year of year 5 English studied with Wolsey Hall. Following the lower secondary phase comes to the IGCSE and GCSE phase. And these are 2 years of academic study. So a student in year 10 or 11, typically aged 14 to 16, would study GCSE or IGCSE. The I in the GCSE just means international, so it has a more international flavour. But these are 2-year study courses. The same with the A-level phase, years 12 and 13. They are also a 2-year phase. So you may notice there are some green oval type bubbles on the screen, and this indicates the approximate number of subjects that your student may wish to study. We're asked all the time, how many subjects should my student study? And this will vary depending on individual circumstances. If Wolsey Hall is your sole or only education provider, then the numbers in the green bubbles there represent the minimum number of subjects that your student is likely to study with us, or we would recommend that you study with us. But obviously this depends, because if this is the sole provider for your education, then you would need to be studying more subjects. If perhaps this is supplementary education for your student, then you may wish to study less subjects. But our admissions team are always very willing to have a conversation, to discuss your specific needs and circumstances, and to make sure that the subjects are correct for your student's situation. Moving on to especially the GCSE and IGCSE years, if your student is a very academic student, has high aspirations for university or some higher qualifications, we would say maybe 8 subjects would be a good subject to study, 8 or more. Some students study less if they're less capable academically. So it very much depends on your student's circumstances. A-levels are a more specialised course where you would study 3, perhaps 4 subjects in a specialised in-depth level. And those A-levels would be tailored to perhaps the end goal of your student. If they have aspirations to attend a university, they would study those A-levels in the subjects in which they were hoping to move on in their further education in terms of higher education or employment. So hopefully that's given you an overview of the Wolsey Hall journey, the approximate ages, but we always are very happy to enrol students on cross-phase courses. So it could be that your student is ready for Year 7 maths, for example, but not quite so ready in English. So perhaps would be studying Year 6 in English. And so we can always accommodate cross-phase enrolments. And again, our admissions team would be delighted to discuss this with you to ensure it's tailored to your students' needs. So the video touched on how our courses work, and I just wanted to explain a few further points to make sure that you're clear on what Wolsey Hall courses provide. So all of our courses are hosted on a password-protected, secure learning platform, which the parent or trusted adult that is supporting the student also has access to. So parents can monitor students' progress and the content that the student is working through. But obviously the different phases have different requirements. Younger students, maybe in lower primary or upper primary, will need more hands-on supportive parents to be able to challenge and inspire their students, ensure that they're following the curriculum, that they're working as expected, and so these courses are parent-led. They are written for the parent to follow. So that means that you should have, it's written in very clear language to enable you to follow those courses. But obviously, as the students work through those phases, the independence and autonomy would grow. And that's something that's really important to us at Wolsey Hall, that we create independent, autonomous students with transferable skills to be able to organise themselves. So the lower secondary courses, the IGCSE and GCSE and A-level courses, are written for the student to follow. But having used these courses with my children and my nephew throughout upper primary and lower secondary and now IGCSE levels, that's not to say that students can just be left to work through. We would always encourage adults or a trusted adult to be involved in their students' education to make sure that they're maximising their ability and the facilities that we offer at Wolsey Hall. But that independence and adaptability will be created and encouraged throughout those courses. In terms of how do we present the work to the students, so on the screen you'll see some various elements. There may be activities that are on the learning platform with clear guidance and instructions. There may be textbooks. The majority of our courses are supported by textbooks, and we would ship those to your students. All of our courses have quizzes throughout them for students to check their knowledge, tasks that may have instant feedback. Some of them may have subscription services in them, but we'd like to be really clear that we subscribe to a blend of online and offline learning. We would not expect students to be sitting in front of their laptops all of the time. We would expect them to have some offline work as well. For example, practical activities. Maybe that year 3 students are set the task of creating a globe, perhaps in geography, or in science, perhaps you're looking at how water transports through a plant. So we would always set our experiments, our science experiments, with practical equipment that students have access to. We wouldn't expect you to have a fume cupboard or a Bunsen burner, for example, but for older students, these type of activities may be simulated via a video, or if the equipment isn't available, you can always contact your tutor on our learning platform to ask for their support and advice of how to complete an activity if you don't have anything readily available. But we aim for creative and exciting hands-on experiences across the courses for our students. Just to reiterate, there are no live lessons on our courses, which gives you the ultimate flexibility. So there's no fixed timetable. You don't need to be online for 9 a.m. to do maths. The family sets their timetable. We would give the number of hours that a student would be expected to study a particular subject. So we will guide you with those with the number of hours or lessons. But videos do scaffold the learning, and those videos are available throughout the course and are available to be revisited. So if you're looking to revise a concept, you might go back to a particular lesson and rewatch that video. And this is the really good part of Wolsey Hall. I've loved this with my family, the ability to be able to adapt the pace to suit your student. So on days when one of my students has found work easy or easier, then we've moved through that more quickly, perhaps. On other times when it's been more difficult, we've slowed the pace down, and we've actually been able to rewatch videos or take tasks at a slower pace in order to make sure that they've fully understood the work that is covered. So all subscriptions are included, the fees are included in your course fee. And a final point on how do we monitor progress. So at fixed points during the course, we would set quizzes, which give a great way to revise, but also assignments. And those assignments, Olivia will speak more about in a moment, but those assignments allow parents to see how the student is progressing and to be able to receive feedback from the tutors to ensure that you know how your student is managing a particular subject. So I'll now pass over to Olivia.
Thanks so much, Jo. Okay, perfect. My video should be showing now. Okay, so as Jo mentioned, my name is Olivia Dixon and I'm Deputy Head of Secondary here at Wolsey Hall. So again, the video touched on this ever so slightly at the start, but I just want to reiterate a few key points here. So in terms of the support that is available for families, so we have a fantastic team of UK qualified tutors, and the tutors for each individual subject will be the ones who are responsible for marking all assignments. And as you would expect in any sort of mainstream school or online learning provider, they will advise on areas of strength and next steps in your child's learning journey. So things that they need to focus on in order to progress the next step, the next grade, etc. They will offer virtual meetings at certain points during the course. And as Jo mentioned, they are also available via Canvas Messenger, so Canvas being our secure learning platform, to answer any questions that you have about learning or that your child has about their learning. So if they're not sure about a certain point, why they got a particular grade, they can ask for clarification around that. You also will have a dedicated student progress manager, so we call them our SPMs for short, and they will be responsible for creating a personal assignment schedule for your child to keep them on track, to ensure that their assignments are completed in a timely manner and in the way that best fits their learning style over the course of their learning journey. Your SPM will also assist with monitoring all subjects that your child is enrolled in, and they will check in with families, so with you as parents, as guardians, to see how things are progressing. And again, your SPMs are available via email to answer any questions that you have about your child's learning or their progress. If there are any things that are kind of concerning you, maybe your child is a little bit worried about something, any questions that you have, your SPM is there to support in both an academic and pastoral manner. If you could just pop to the next slide, Jo.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, so for those of you who have children who are sitting or due to be sitting examinations in the upcoming years, so we offer IGCSE, AS and A-level courses to prepare students for external exams. We also have 2 fantastic and dedicated exams officers who will help to signpost you to local examination centres. So this is really important and something that you would learn more about during the enrolment process. So your children, if they are due to sit their exams, they will register as private candidates. So they will need to find, or you will need to support them in finding an examination centre local to you where they can sit their examinations. As I said, we have got our SPMs and our examinations officers who can also support with that because the process can be a little bit confusing from time to time. So it's really important to get the best advice and support and those examinations officers. That's what they're there for. And Cambridge and Pearson EdExcel exams are globally recognised, as Jo mentioned and we saw in the video earlier, recognised qualifications accepted by universities and employers around the world. And finally, some additional support for families. So again, as we saw in the video, we have got a fantastic learning support and wellbeing service available. So this is an additional paid for service that can support your child if they have any particular learning support needs or wellbeing areas that they would like to focus on. We also have a career and university advisory service. So if you need support with looking at writing, say, your personal statement, or if you are looking at applying to universities in the UK, the UCAS application process. And again, we have a reference service. So if you are looking, again, at applying to university, for example, that reference writing service is provided by us as an additional paid for service. So some fantastic offerings that can really help over the course of your learning journey or your child's learning journey. So I will pass you back to Joanna now. I'm going to pop my light on because it's gone very dark here, and I will be back with you for the Q&A in a minute.
Thank you very much, Jo and Olivia. That was fantastic. Hope you all found that helpful and that provided a good overview of how Wolsey Hall Oxford works. Okay, the Q&A has now begun. So please do ask your questions by typing them into the Q&A area, which you can find at the bottom of your screens. When typing a question, please include the age of your child, their level of study, and your country. And we will aim to answer as many questions as possible in the time we've got available. Please also note that we will not be answering any questions that are specifically unique to your child today. For these types of questions, please do submit an inquiry form on our website, and our admission team will get in touch to arrange an online meeting or phone call to discuss your child's studies in detail. We will show you where you can find the inquiry form at the end of the webinar today. So let's get some questions going. We will answer some questions via the Q&A channel, and also some live. So I would like to bring you back to Olivia and Jo, who look forward to answering some of your questions live today. So here's a question. How do you determine which level my child should start studying at?
Good question. I'll take that one, Olivia. So we have a variety of methods in order to do that. So there are checklists or placement checks that we offer to families to help them place their students. And as I mentioned, this can be cross-phase. So it may be that one level in one subject is correct, but a different level may be studied by in a different subject. So this is very flexible. Our admissions team are always very happy to give advice regarding those levels.
Fantastic, thank you. How about what happens if my child is falling behind with their studies?
Okay, so if your child is falling behind, if they perhaps are finding things a little bit difficult, some of their assignments a bit challenging, there are lots of conversations that can be had along the way. So with the tutor, with your SPM, though, in the first instance. So the SPM will be able to advise and support, potentially look at kind of tweaking that assignment schedule to ensure that your child, or the learning journey your child is on, is kind of best suited to them, and that they have the appropriate amount of time to complete that assignment. So if they are falling behind, there's lots of things in place that will help to support your child.
Excellent. Okay, can I have a trial period?
Good question. So we offer all of our course samples actually have a series of modules if it's lower secondary or above, or lessons if it's upper primary, lower primary, that you as a family can work through. And often I find when I'm on admissions calls with families that I suggest that they work through those, because they also have the first assignment that a student would be expected to complete. So that gives a good indication of the level for a beginning. Also has the course overviews on the course samples. All of those samples can be found on our website. So there is a sort of informal trial period, I suppose, if you look at those. And by working your way through the course samples, it will give you a good indication of what the courses cover and whether or not that level feels right for your student.
Great, thank you, Jo. Here's another question. Do you have entry requirements for the sixth form?
So each subject in the sixth form will have its own kind of entry requirements. So what we would suggest is, if you are interested in looking at the sixth form, so year 12, year 13, A-level study, it is worth reaching out to our admissions team, who will be able to kind of advise on those entry requirements. There's also lots of information available on our website, so it's worth having a little look through that as well.
Thank you, Olivia. Here's another one for you. How many courses should I choose for my child?
That's quite a tricky one to answer, to give a definitive answer to. But as I alluded to earlier, it really will depend on your student's circumstances and your family's circumstances. So if your child is using Wolsey Hall solely as their source of education, our advice would be different to if they were just using it for supplementary education. So some of our students are studying 3 subjects because perhaps they're studying a language locally, or they're studying music locally, so they're not needing those services. Whereas others may take everything, want a complete curriculum. And so they're taking maybe 8 subjects. And this varies by age. So obviously, in terms of exam years, those foundations need to be laid down before you get to the examination years. You can't just start Spanish in year 10 at IGCSE and expect to be able to pass that. So our advice would be to book a call with the admissions team to discuss your personal circumstances and look at a bespoke curriculum for your student.
Great, thank you. Do you offer any opportunities to chat to one another?
Okay. So for our students to chat to one another, yes. So we have got our student forum. So for those students or those children who are aged 10 and above, or in year 6 and above, then our student forum is available for students to chat to each other over different kind of topics. They can comment on one another's posts, etc., etc. So it's all safe, it's all moderated by our Wolsey Hall moderator. So a really great place for students to interact with one another and get to know one another and make some friends.
Lovely, great. How about, we've got one here. Do you have families using your material alongside part-time or mainstream schooling?
We definitely do have that, because perhaps English is something that your family would like to develop, and so perhaps their students are in school in their own country, but actually studying English with Wolsey Hall. And since your course fee is valid for 52 weeks, so 1 year, but the courses are generally 36 weeks long, that means that you've got time to be able to study perhaps during school holidays, or to kind of spread your learning out a little bit more, perhaps to make it achievable. But we definitely have students maybe learning a language with us. That's another popular one, or maybe a subject that they wish to pursue, marine biology, IGCSE, for example, but perhaps their school doesn't actually offer that subject. So we definitely have supplementary. But again, it's really useful. I know I keep saying, but our admissions team are really experienced in advising families and students to give realistic expectations about what can be achieved depending on your circumstances.
Brilliant, thank you. How about, my child has studied with anxiety in the past. Can we support them?
Yes, absolutely. So, firstly, our SPMs obviously can support with anyone who is struggling with anxiety, but more crucially, I think, is our learning support department. So we have a fantastic paper learning support service, but we also have a brilliant wealth of resources on our Canvas page. So if you are struggling with anxiety, or your child is struggling with anxiety, lots of sort of help and advice and guidance available there as well. So please do reach out if you do enroll and that is something that your child is struggling with. Please reach out, make us aware, and we can support in any way we can.
Fantastic, brilliant, thank you. Homeschool regulations in Portugal have changed. Can you give me any advice on the new regulations?
So we don't offer individual advice on local regulations, because we could be out of date and we would never want to give the incorrect advice. But what we do offer is that we have a student liaison officer who will put you in contact with a family in a country, say Portugal in this instance, and they will have more experience and know the current local regulations. So we don't advise on regulations, as I say, because we wouldn't want to give the incorrect advice. Regulations change all the time, and we have students in over 130 countries, so we wouldn't want to get that advice wrong. But you're very welcome to be connected with a family who are studying with Wolsey Hall. Often that applies to families who are about to start sailing trips. We have lots of families sailing around the world, and they often say, we'd love to speak to somebody to get their experience so that we can foresee any problems that we might have. So we'd always be very happy to connect you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jo. And one more question. We're almost at the end of the webinar today, but one more question. Are your assignments flexible?
Yes, so our assignments are really flexible in the sense that, as we mentioned in the video, we don't offer live lessons. So the learning journey that your child is on, they can pursue it at their own pace. It's entirely flexible as to when they complete those assignments. Obviously, they will be expected to complete the assignments in order to progress through the course. But when they complete those assignments, it's kind of up to them, really. So it is very flexible in that sense. Also, over the course of the year, they're not restricted by kind of academic terms or anything like that. They can enroll with us at any point in that year, in that calendar year. So yeah, truly flexible in that sense.
Great. Thank you very much both for your help today, and also just explaining everything about how Wolsey Hall works. I hope that's helped everybody. Thank you everyone for your questions. I can see that there are still some questions in the Q&A chat, and we will continue to keep answering these questions in the typing area, but we are indeed running out of time. You can find out more information, and if you've got any more questions about homeschooling with Wolsey Hall Oxford, or you'd like to discuss your child's studies with one of our admissions officers, please do get in touch. On the Wolsey Hall website, complete an inquiry form by pressing on the Contact Us button on the top right, and then click on the blue Submit Admissions Inquiry Form. Our admissions team will then send you some course information and offer you to book a meeting or a phone call so we can give you specialist advice about subjects and course levels. Admissions might recommend some online level placement checks or checklists to help you decide on the most appropriate level of study for your child in each of their chosen subjects. Finally, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that you found the session useful and that it has given you a good understanding of homeschooling with Wolsey Hall Oxford. Have a lovely rest of the day and goodbye from us for now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.